Alright, so funny story. I recorded this whole vlog yesterday and then I deleted it when I was going to start editing it today. So take two. As you can see by the title of this video, I was just diagnosed with Sjögren syndrome, which is an autoimmune condition. The wild part is that I just did not think that I had this. Sorry, the lighting is crazy. Again, yesterday I was all set up to do this and here we are now. I really was convinced I had lupus. My symptoms all lined up with lupus, not as much Sjögren. So the stereotypical Sjögren's syndrome symptoms are dry eyes, dry mouth. Now, I do have dry eyes now that I've really tuned into my eyes. If you followed my channel before, you know that I have kind of an eye phobia, and so I have just completely ignored my eyes for years and just never tuned into them. But now that I am tuned into them, they're definitely dry and irritated and annoyed a lot of the time. But I do not have dry mouth. The stereotypical symptoms of dry mouth. I think I'm gonna have to move. I'm like in the sun enough that it is bothering me. All right, we'll see if I'm still kind of in the sun, but it's fine. We're gonna get through this. I'm really tired. I was not planning on re-recording this vlog today, so we'll figure it out. But someone did say that like your mouth, if it is dry, can overcompensate by trying to pump out as much saliva as it possibly can. And so I think that's me. I think that's where we are right now. So the way that I was diagnosed with Sjögren syndrome, I've talked on this channel a little bit about my journey the past few months, but this is kind of a recap for those who might have missed that or want the whole story in this video. So as a kid, I did have a positive ANA. I had kind of swelling in my ankles and I went to a children's hospital and they found this positive ANA. And so as a kid, I did have this. I don't know if that's connected to what I have now. No idea. But then on March 3rd of this year, I started having joint pain in every joint in my body. It felt like something just turned on and it was so incredibly painful and really scary because we were like, what the heck is going on here? This is not good. So I ended up trying to get in to see any rheumatologist as fast as I could because most of them that I called were like, oh, we have openings like next year. This was March. I was like, I can't wait that long. I need to have answers sooner. I'm in so much pain. I ended up seeing a local rheumatologist who was not covered by insurance. Actually, around that time as well, I had gone to see my hematologist. And so they said, you know what, we'll do some blood work since it's gonna be a long time till you get in to see a rheumatologist. So they did blood work. My ANA was positive. It was 180. My staining pattern was nucleolar at that point. Like I said, that local rheumatologist was not covered by insurance. And I got in and 2 weeks later, she ordered more blood work. And at that time, my ANA had gone up to 1,320, which is a lot higher. And also my staining pattern was nuclear homogeneous at that time. So it changed, which is very strange. Then around that same time, I went to see the head of the POTS clinic at Johns Hopkins, who happened to be a rheumatologist. And so they were like, you know what, let's do a bunch of tests because this is kind of overshadowing the orthostatic intolerance. Like we need to figure out what's going on. And so they ordered an ultrasound of my joints, which ended up showing tendinitis in both of my Achilles. Yay. And they also ordered, or I guess they referred me to get dry eye testing done because they have a Sjögren center. And so one of their eye doctors who works in the Sjögren center, they sent me to see her. And so, you know, I recorded that whole thing. I had the Schirmer's test done and my eyes were right on the edge. One eye was 5 and one eye was 10. I think the scale goes up to 30 and anything less than a 5 is automatically considered dry eyes and possibly a positive Sjögren's diagnosis. That all was going on, and then literally what's crazy is a week before I was diagnosed, I went to see a rheumatologist that one of my other doctors had recommended. I was trying to find a local one that was covered by insurance, and I saw this rheumatologist and the vibes were just off. Like people who have seen doctors and who have chronic illness, you just know. Oh, my face is just bothering the heck out of me that I'm in the sun here. All right, I think this works. We'll try this background. So I saw this rheumatologist, but she kind of came in and wasn't really listening to my health history background or my symptoms. She had just seen the blood work and I didn't have anything else positive. So I only had a positive ANA. All the other tests they did lupus tests, they did rheumatoid factor tests, they did Sjögren's tests with blood work. What else? They did scleroderma. Nothing else was showing up positive. And so to my face, this rheumatologist said, I 100% can tell you that you do not have anything autoimmune going on. Now, in health, you can never say, I 100% can tell you. And so for her to say that, it was like, woo, okay. So that was not a good fit for a rheumatologist. And then a week later, my lip biopsy results came back positive. And so the lip biopsy, you can see that in another video that I did as well. That was a whole journey. My lip is still numb, although the numbness is starting, I think, to go away. But that was like a whole journey. That was really, really stressful. And so I'm glad we got information out of it. Otherwise, it would have been like, wow, I have numbness in my lip from this lip biopsy for no reason. But we got that done and it came back positive. So what happens is it shows up as lymphocytes, and if you have a certain amount of lymphocytes around a salivary gland, then it's just positive. That was what happened. And so I ended up going back to the local rheumatologist who I'd found at that time, just because I didn't have anyone else lined up. And the same day, actually, I had sent all the test results to my rheumatologist at Johns Hopkins. And so the same day, my local one and then also my rheumatologist at Johns Hopkins both diagnosed me with Sjögren's on the same day. I'm so grateful for the privilege of a diagnosis. Finding a diagnosis is just such a privilege, because I've been sick for 13 years and we don't know how much of that time has been Sjögren's, or if Sjögren's just turned on in me recently. I've been getting sicker since I got a quarter dose of the COVID vaccine in January 2022, and I've heard that the COVID vaccine has triggered a lot of autoimmune conditions. So I don't know if that triggered it in me. I don't know. But I just did not think that I had it. That's the confusing part. Like, I'm so grateful for this diagnosis, but I just didn't think I had it. I do have a health history of it. So my mom's aunt has Sjögren's and then her daughter has lupus. And so it does kind of run in the family, and just autoimmune stuff does in general. My grandma has rheumatoid arthritis. So, you know, I was thinking it was more likely that I had rheumatoid arthritis, or like, it was just such a confusing journey. And I also don't know anyone with Sjögren's. I knew the only famous person I knew who had Sjögren's was Venus Williams. I followed her tennis journey for years and looked up to her because she had chronic fatigue. That was one of her main symptoms. And so for her to be able to balance having this chronic illness with being a professional tennis player, I just looked up to her so much. But she was the only person who I knew of that had Sjögren's. So it was just this very confusing thing, because yeah, I just really did not think that I had it. And then I was diagnosed with it, and it's been about a month, so I'm still processing all of this. But unfortunately, it is not curable. So it is just a lifelong management disease. They do want me to try hydroxychloroquine, also known as Plaquenil, which is an anti-malarial drug, and I'm very hesitant and nervous to try that because it has some really intense side effects. Obviously, it's a very intense medication to be an anti-malarial, and I've not reacted well to anti-malarials in the past. When I was doing a Lyme treatment, they put me on an anti-malarial and I did not feel good. And so, I react to almost everything. I have side effects from even supplements. And so, this medication can damage your heart, your liver, your cornea, all these different things. And so it just really gives me pause to try this medication. And at first I was told like, oh, it will only help your joint pain. And I'm like, okay, my biggest symptoms that disable me are my chronic fatigue and my brain fog. So if it's not going to help those, I'm not sure. Like, I live with chronic pain. I have endometriosis, one of the 20 most painful conditions in the world. Like I can deal with pain. It's these other things that are really bad. So I'm going to try it at some point. I'm right in the middle of trying some other stuff for my health, so I need to do that because I can only add one new thing at a time, or if I add too much and I react to it, then we don't know what gave me the reaction and I have to go off of everything, and it's just this nightmare. So I kind of have a system in place now for trying new things. So it's on the list to try. But if you have Sjögren's or know anyone who has Sjögren's or have been on hydroxychloroquine, please comment below. Let me know your experience. If you have Sjögren's, what has helped your symptoms, all of that. Because this is just so new to me. And like I said, I'm very grateful for the privilege of a diagnosis. And I'd kind of come to terms in the last year or so with the fact that I have chronic illness that are only management things. Endometriosis, there is no cure. It is only symptom management, and it is now the same with Sjögren's. And so that part was not upsetting to me. I was just really grateful to know what my body was fighting, which basically it's fighting itself as an autoimmune condition. And so all of that, is a lot more information that I'm really grateful to have. And so now I'm kind of going into a management phase. For years, I've been in trying to figure out what is wrong phase because I feel like something else has been going on and we haven't been able to figure out what it is until now. There could be additional things going on, who knows, but at least right now, this gives us more information, which I'm really grateful for. So, you know, I'm going to try a bunch of other stuff as well. You know, I'm going to a new acupuncturist who I love. I mean, I've only had one treatment, but it was a vagus nerve kind of reset or treatment, and it really helped some of my symptoms, and I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, it's all just very new. And so I've taken, you know, a month to kind of think about it, you know, before making this video, but there's still so much to learn. Like I said, I didn't really know anything about it. I literally thought it was pronounced Sjögren's. I don't know why. I don't know if that's a different condition. I don't think it is. I think I've Googled it and been like, that's not even a thing. So I'm very new to this and I don't know a lot. And so it's time for me to learn more about it, educate myself. And so that is like a whole new journey, is this symptom management stage where we know more of what is wrong with my body and what's going on, and that it will be a lifelong thing. And so now it's just trying to manage my symptoms to try to keep my quality of life at a certain level. But you know, it's still difficult, but I'm just really, really grateful for the privilege of a diagnosis. So please share resources if you have any for these things. Yeah, I'm a newbie. I'm a newbie in this area. I'm just a baby. But I'm grateful to be here in this community. And I also don't know of any Sjögren's communities. I really thought I had lupus, so I'd started looking into lupus support groups and talk to people who had lupus, and that felt like all the symptoms they were talking about. I was like, I have those. But for Sjögren's, I don't have any support groups. I don't have any communities of people. I don't know anyone else that has Sjögren's that I know of. And so yeah, I'm really looking for communities, resources, and just general support in this area. So yeah, but very open to trying new things, trying maybe red light therapy, vagus nerve devices, cranial sacral therapy. All these things have been recommended for me and my symptoms right now. And so in the next couple months, I'm hoping to try some of these things more. So yeah, this is like a huge video just because throughout the whole time I've had this channel, I've had chronic illness. I've had chronic illness for 13 years since I was first diagnosed with like Lyme disease and a co-infection, and had treatment for that for 6 years and never felt better. In fact, just continued to feel worse and worse with all of these side effects and new symptoms I got from the treatment. So it has been a journey to get here, but I'm really grateful to be here. Hopefully I will not delete this video and I'll start editing it and we'll be fine. But I'm really tired, and this is me kind of going into the fight or flight to make this video, and I will be crashing the next several days. So wish me luck. Thanks for watching though, and I will talk to you all soon, my friends.